change to move that fast in my life. That's much too fast. Whereas somebody else would say, oh, all right, I'll change that. I'll change this habit, that habit. Okay, all right, fine, no problem. And what that person will immediately experience is that's the person that says, I feel so much lighter. I feel, and things start moving for that person because the laws of cause and effect and action and reaction are moving with more rapidity because that, or more speed, because that person now has all that energy back in present time. So a thought can go into form much faster. An insight is recognized much faster, and that person can respond to that insight and make a choice much faster. And now they've recalibrated their actual experience of time and space. They don't require as much time. Synchronicity engages, coincidence happens. The laws begin to snap, crackle, and pop because they're not anchored in this density. And that density anchors in your cell tissue, and it makes you need more time for medicine to work. So instead of being able to heal with more light, at the speed of light, in vertical time, you require the hours and the days and the months that are labeled on bottled medicine because you're so anchored in you're so densified.
Why do you think, Carolyn, it's scary for so many of us to let go of our weight, W-E-I-G-H-T, and to let go of waiting and to come fully into present time? You say that mystics live in present time. Why is that? People say they want it. They sure like talking about it, but it seems like many people are actually afraid to actually do it.
I think that that's a multi-layered answer. I think that it's an interesting thing. I think people are terrified of the speed of truth and a relationship with truth and becoming clear. I think for some reason, for a lot of reasons, the clarity and truth is considered a very sharp sword because people take cover in darkness and in the shadow and in denial and in their capacity to say things that are not true and then excuse that behavior. And truth is clarity, and you have to say what you mean and mean what you say, and then truth opens up in you self-truth, deeper truth, and where you then are called to be more courageous. You're called to be more integrous. You're called to live at a much more authentic level of empowerment. And that changes this equation where the love of power demands that you change to the power of love. And the love of power begins to disintegrate, which is what drives most people in their initial stages in life, where they're driven by this love of power, the need for security, the need for stuff, the need for position, the need for acknowledgement. And they're afraid to empower other people. They're terrified of it. They're afraid to acknowledge that they sense the vulnerabilities in other people because then they have to make decisions based on that equation. The power of love. I'll tell you what I actually think these days, because I never stop praying or dwelling on these questions these days. But I think love is the name, the word that we give to experiencing, touching the power of God. And that it's so profound a power, it's so exquisite a power that we take it in small doses and we we allow ourselves to sense that love with very few people in very deep ways, our family, our children, our mates, and oftentimes our mates not that fully, because look at how often we change mates. But there are very few instances in life where a person really loves another human being unconditionally. That's the bond with parents and children, is that because there is a safety net with loving your own children. It is this biological safety net. But sharing, knowing how love can empower another person or disempower them makes it the greatest power you have, and you know it, which is why human beings spend so much time regulating how this power flows from them and creating these narratives that you can't direct this power toward people who don't look like you. You can't direct this power toward people who don't believe things that you do. You've got to be very careful with this power. You've got to be very, very careful. And we have to go to therapy to learn how to regulate this power and to recover from when that power was denied to us. Now, we don't require therapy to launch hate at anybody. We do that without discrimination. Boom, anger, boom, no problem. We don't have any therapy to let that go without discrimination. But when it comes to love, we have to regulate it so tightly, because we know that the power of love is somehow so transformational, again, that word, that if we really let it flow through us without this requisite, you don't meet my requisites. If we get that it's not about personal, it's an impersonal force that has intimate consequences. It's totally impersonal. Compassion, kindness, where you say to yourself, I am not going to have these restrictions. It doesn't do me any harm to look at humanity and just say, bless them, may God just flow kindness and mercy. Have mercy on these people that are trying so hard to make their way in the world. Have mercy on them. Just let this love flow from you. It is impersonal, and get over the fear of empowering other people as if it's going to cost you something in your life. A rising tide lifts all ships. All life breathes together. When will we get that message?
So,